tricky bosses. Navigating your relationship with your manager can be tough, especially when their leadership style doesn't align with your needs. Career coach Jess Stuart has written all about it for One News. You can read it now on onenews.co.nz, and she joins us this morning. Good morning.
Yeah.
So a bad boss, a horrible boss, we've all had them. What are the sort of different types of bosses you've encountered and that you've written about?
Oh, they can be from one end of the extreme to the other. So you've got, the bully, the worst boss to have, and sadly far too common, right through to the coaster. You've got those that will overwork in a bid to try and prove themselves and micromanage, get in your business. And then those that are so far removed, you're the one doing all their work and they're the one taking all the credit.
All right, I imagine some of these might ring true for people that are watching at home. So let's start with the bully. What are some of the traits of the bully boss that people should watch out for?
Oh, look, often talking over you, changing the goalpost, often diminishing your contribution. There can also be aggression, forcefulness. It's someone that erodes your confidence day after day, and it's a misery to work for.
On the other end of the spectrum, the coaster? what
The coaster can be quite fun. They're always up for a laugh. They've got plenty of time. They're never that busy. But the downside of that is you end up being the one, if you're in their team, that picks up all the slack, does their work for them. Meanwhile, they're the ones taking all the credit for that work that's been done.
Okay. Is this the sort of situation where they might be your friend as well?
They can be, yeah. So they're a lot of fun to hang out with, and they're always available for Friday night drinks because they're not that busy. And I think there is
just not for your phone calls during the workday, right?
Well, there is that matey boss where they're so nice that you love being around them, but they're too nice that if there's someone else underperforming in your team, they don't act on that, and so you end up picking up the slack.
All right. So what makes a great boss?
A great boss is someone that has empathy and self-awareness. They're good at communicating. They support you and they've got your back, but they also want to challenge you in a safe way that enables you to grow and develop. So they empower you. There's a lot of trust and respect there as well when you've got a great boss.
Why do we get the situation where you get bosses that just don't seem to be good at managing?
It's an interesting one because I don't think often it's intentional. I think sometimes you normally get promoted because you're good at your job technically,
yes.
Often the one you've trained years to do. And then you inherit people because you've been promoted so far up the ladder, you get a management role. And often that's not what we're trained for. And we don't get a lot of training before we get a leadership role. And so often people are underqualified to lead people. It can be quite complicated. Sometimes it's a lack of confidence. So they see others as a threat because they're not fully confident in the role, and sometimes we just don't have the people skills to be a boss either.
So if you're a boss and you're not great at dealing with people, not great at managing people, is there a way out of this? Can you become a better boss, or should you just think, right, let's go back to managing and actually do what I was better at, which was a more technical job?
Yeah, some people want to do that, but again, it's the status, the salary they need to keep in that role, right? So a lot of training, a lot of investment in yourself. I'm often telling managers, learn more about yourself and cultivate that self-awareness to then be able to learn more about others and the people that you work alongside.
What advice would you give to someone who is dealing with a difficult boss right now?
Yeah, it can be tough because it depends what kind of boss. At the bottom end, it's just making sure that the communication is clear, clearing up anything before it becomes big, making sure that if you're in a situation where you're a little bit flustered, making sure that you've calmed down and that you can behave professionally even when they're not, before you send the email or have the conversation. And then, of course, right at the other end where it's super serious and you're being bullied, there's documenting the incidents. There is, unfortunately, at some points, actually debating on whether I leave or not, but certainly talking to someone about it and seeking support.
Do you sort of have to identify the kind of boss they are first, then try and deal with them that way?
It's helpful, yeah. I always say try some of these strategies first, and if all else fails, that's your last resort to sort of start saying, right, how do I get myself out of this situation?
Well, I'm sure people can go and read your column now on onenews.co.nz. Jess, Stuart, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
And looking forward to having you back on the couch. I mean, I imagine this one might get feedback rolling in.
Yeah, I loved, I'm just checking out your onenews.co.nz piece. Don't be a hothead. If you're frustrated, always wait until you've calmed down before having a conversation or sending off that email. That is so good. Actually,
is this advice to the boss or advice to the person?
Well, no, it's to your boss. But you can actually do this in relationships, in anything. I think it's really good advice. But yeah, I was quite intrigued about the point of sometimes you have people who are great at what they do and then being promoted into a management role, and they've actually no training to help deal with people. That's a really important part.
Yeah.
Because people are good at their job, but when it comes to the actual communication and people skills, sometimes they're not there.
And some people only want to do the technical stuff, right? Like they might actually think, no, this is where my skills are best served. But then, like you say, they're being rewarded, they're getting that promotion. Well, how much of the onus should it be on companies to actually say, look, we need to put proper training in and outsource this sort of thing?
Yeah. I'll often ask leaders, when did you get training for your technical role? And they'll say at school, at college, at university, 20 years. And then I'll ask, when did you get training for your leadership role? And some of them will say, well, I haven't ever had that training. So that's a massive part of it.
Qualification from the School of Hard Knocks for the sounds of things. Let us know, breakfast@tvnz.co.nz. Maybe you've had a wonderful boss and you love working for them, or maybe you've had some shockers. We'd love to hear them all.
I've cried.
Oh, yeah.
I've cried with previous bosses. Anyway, thank you. 27 past